Right, welcome back. We're back in the polytunnel. Today we're going to be looking at stripping these TZR front forks down and seeing what condition they're in, giving them a clean up. And also I've had a couple of gifts come in from my Amazon wish list. And the first one was from Steve the Transit Camper, another good YouTuber. Go check his channel out. There's some interesting stuff on there. And what he actually, I haven't got them with me, they're at home. What he actually bought me was a big 6-pack of the blue rolls that we use. I haven't got none in here, so I can't show you. But yeah, the big industrial 6-pack of blue roll tails. So they're going to come in really handy, always getting through them. So thanks a lot, Steve. And also, I had another gift coming from, you may remember a few videos back, from Si at Collarbone Carpentry. He sent me a gift as well. And he also, if you remember, he sent me the tea coasters for the Project Man logo on it. So he's nearly at 100 subscribers now. So if we could all just go over there and get into the 100 subscribers, because it's always great when you can get that first 100. You feel like you've hit a milestone there. So let's go over and push him up to the 100. I think he only needs another 10 or so. So thanks again, Si. Really appreciate that. And I'm going to stop waffling now and let's get started stripping these forks down. So before we head over to the forks, I'll just show you, these are the bits that I've put over here now. These are ready, sort of furbished. I've just got to paint that one up there. I want to repaint that. But everything else in here is all cleaned or repainted. So we're starting to get somewhere now. Right, so first of all, we're going to try and get this bracket off here. I've sprayed them in a bit of WD and they have been soaking. But I'm going to try with this impact first. That's one. And that's two. Pop them there a minute. And hopefully we should. And I've never actually done a set of forks before, so this is all new to me as well, this. Right, so that's that separated. So this can be put to one side. This will go and get cleaned, and then we'll blast all that, and we'll get that repowder coated, this bit here. So let's just put that to one side. And I believe that you can see the pitting on them. That's quite bad actually. You can see it's actually eating through the chrome work there. So I'll have to get something done with these. But I believe at the bottom here you need an Allen key. So let me just see what I've got in here. That's it, and that's a T40 piece. Right, I've actually got the impact gun just to get on there. Right, so we're back in the log cabin now. I didn't have the facilities out there, so I've had to come and use his tools. Look. And while he's here, he's going to give me a hand. So, tell them what we've done then.
Tell them what who's done?
Tell them what we've done.
Well, I got a call, can you come out and give us a hand? And that was basically to get the forks dismantled. And if you've done forks before, you'll know that on this type of style of fork, you've got a Allen bolt there on the underside of them, where the wheel spindle goes through, which you have to undo. You've normally got a nut on the top there which you unscrew, take your spring out. You've also got a little drain cup there on the bottom of your fork leg where you drain the oil out. So you drain the oil out first, which you've already done. Not that there was any oil in one of them, was there?
Not in one of the legs, no.
So then we got a situation where the top here, it wasn't a nut in there. There's a silly little circlip. I don't know whether you can see in there, you probably can't, but there is a little clip in there and there's some sort of collar in there. And what we had to do was push the little collar in, and then there's a C-clip which you have to dig out of a little trough in there. So that comes out. What that enables you then to do is to pull the spring out, and then you're left with this mechanism still going in and out. But you have to, as I said to you, you have to undo this Allen bolt on the bottom. Now, one of the big problems with that is that it's easy enough to undo the Allen bolt, but what you'll find is then it will just start spinning and spinning because it's attached to the damper rod, which is inside the fork leg, and that can be a devil's own job to get out because people normally thread lock them in. It's not that it's a tight thread to undo, it's that it's thread locked in to the internal part. We've actually got this one out, I'll show you how we've done that in a minute. So if I take that out now we've removed that bolt out of the bottom, you can pull to separate the forks and you're then left with this damper rod inside, which is the bit what that Allen bolt screws into. And what normally happens is that when you loosen it, when it's in the leg, this thing starts spinning round and round and round, and you can't actually undo the bolt. So when you look down in there, some of these end of these damper rods, there's a little slot in where you can actually put a tool in through here and hold it. But this one didn't have none. We looked down there and there was no slot, but we could see it spinning round. So the way we got over it was to get an old piece of tapered metal with a little like a tapered spike on, so that when you push this in the fork leg, it's able to grip on the side wall, and that's this end of it done. Now, as I said to you, these bolts have normally got some sort of thread lock on them, and you can't put enough force on that rod in there to stop that shaft actually spinning inside. So what we happened to do was to heat up the bolt at this end, which we're going to do with this one because we haven't actually done this one yet. This one's still in there. But we've had a little dig. Normally there's a big sort of nut in there, hexagon nut, which you can take out. This hasn't got that. It's got that little metal clip in there which you have to push in, and around the edge here you have to then lever out and get the little circlip out. So we're probably going to do that on camera now. And then looking down the thing there, you can't actually see. We'll stick that rod in there, and then we'll take this plug out, and then you can basically put that rod basically right the way down into that tube and hold it while we heat up the bottom end of that there, and then hopefully we'll get it out. So we're going to do this the same way now.
Well, this leg's actually bent, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that fork leg's actually bent, so that one's not any good, but it's still going to retain the actual bottom half of the fork leg, but that top one is definitely bent anyway. So we've squirted this with some WD, and I'm just going to disturb that spring inside until it starts moving, which is just done. I can see that little cap inside bouncing backwards and forwards now. And what I've got to try and do now, which is easier said than done, is prise this in there. Get 2 screwdrivers. Would have done with a vice actually, to be honest with you, but we'll do what we can. We'll make sure, in case you ain't got one, that clip is stuck in the groove. Got to get that moving first. There we go. Right, okay, there we go. We've got that out now, look. These things get rusted in them grooves, you see. So once we get that C-clip out, there we go. Which is rusted, there it is there, look, see? Very problematic. And hopefully now this should just pull out, there we go. I'm not sure if you were refurbing your forks that you might get a new seal, and there's a seal on that little cap there, you see. Really stupid idea for these because, as I say, they tend to rust in because water sits in them if you ain't got the rubber cap on properly, and that causes all your rust. So then you've got your spring. There's a little bit of oil in there, which you told me you'd emptied out.
Well, you can't get it all out.
Well, you can't get it all out, can you? How comes I'm doing all this dirty work and you're the one with the gloves on?
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Right, there's the spring there. Noting that the spring with the shorter coils is at the top of the fork travel. So that's that. Right, so once we've got that out, the bit now, which should be easy, but it isn't, because they always spin, is undoing, if I plug that in there, actually stop all the crap from coming out at the moment, is undoing that bottom nut there so that you can pull this fork leg out. And you've got the battery drill there. So that's just spinning. And inside, if you was able to look into here, which you can't, but although we can with the torch, we can see the internal is actually just spinning round. And the way we've got over that is to stick a tapered, angled thing into that hole, because there's no flats on it, where you can put a long screwdriver blade in or anything, or a nut, push that into there like that, and that goes in there. And what we'll do then is heat the nut up, because that will loosen up the thread lock. This is where normally people struggle for hours and hours doing this, but in this situation, on the thread lock, heat is your friend. So we'll heat up this end cap. And hopefully that's enough heat to loosen the thread lock. I hold that down on the floor like that. And it's going to go nice and easy. I'm going to apply downward pressure. What?
There it is.
There we go. How's about that? Big patch of oil on my floor. Tip that out like that. There's the bolt come out. All because we was able to wedge that little taper in there. Heat up the thread lock, put downward pressure on it, and then out she comes. Now that, I know for a fact, is a devil's own job, but that little trick there hopefully should help you get an old fork leg out to separate it. And that's all I'm going to do today. I'm going in for a cup of tea now. I'll let you do the rest. My work here is done.
You mean you're not going to clean up?
Unbelievable.
Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take these dust covers off, and then we're going to remove the seals, and that's it, stripped back, ready for cleaning. I'll just prise them off. That goes that one. So we're just going to have a go at removing this fork seal now. And I'm just going to apply a bit of heat to that because that one's not budging.
You do it with this?
Yeah.
You hold it. Bubbling away there, look. Oh, would be tight, isn't it?
Oh, hold on. I ain't took the clip out of this one.
Oh, God. Schoolboy error. I thought he'd done all that.
That's why it's not budging.
Of course it ain't.
Right, where's that screwdriver?
Eh? I think you knew that. Always take your C-clip out before you try and prise your dust seal out.
I was testing it.
Get a proper leverage, ready? See what I mean? Up there for thinking, down there for dancing. Happy days. Can I get on with my projects now?
Oh, friend. Right, so what we're going to do now is we'll give these a clean up, and then I want to try and give them a polish, see if we can salvage them that way first. So let's get them in the cleaner, eh?
You're using that cleaner now?
Well, I just thought I'd get these quickly in there. It only take 5 minutes.
Look. I was just about to do my bit. The other half of the crankshaft, crankcase on the TGB moped.
Well,
I'll
tell you what, I'll drop them in, you can do all of it together.
That's not going to happen, is it? Carry on.
Right, so as you can see now, I've actually give this one a polish up, and that's the sort of finish we're getting. I started on a 400 grit paper up to a 6 and 1000, and then I took it over to the polishing wheel with a bit of polishing compound. So I'll stick you on a bit of time lapse and show you what I did, and I'll do this one. Right then, so I'm going to leave it here for this bit of the video. I've got Soppy behind the camera laughing. So as you would have seen in that bit of time lapse, I did start off with a 400, then a 600, then I went to an 800. Then I put some polishing compound on the wheel, and that's the result we've got. There's just a bit of final cleaning up to do on them, just to get some excess polish off, and then we will be lacquering them at a later date. So I'm going to leave it here. So that's how you strip down the TZR front forks. Let's get Soppy in to say bye.
Soppy, unbelievable. I should say, that's how we strip down the TZR front forks. And look how bent that one is, look. Can you see that? If you hold the straight one next to it, look.
That's like me standing next to Mick's mowers.
Oh, look at that, look.
That was Mick.
Unbelievable. Mick, I'm on your side.
Until next time, we'll see you about.
Look, I've got all that over my hands, look.
Well, you will get touching things.
I will get involved.